Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. You know, this time of year with all the hustle and bustle of the holiday season, whether you're shopping or entertaining, we need quick meals to keep us from going through drive-through restaurants. So I've got some great ideas for you today that will start with keeping things in your pantry and in your refrigerator that will allow you to make these recipes in a moment's notice. So we're going to start with the Mandarin tossed salad. This is a recipe from the 70s. I remember the girl that gave it to me in Cartersville, Georgia. It's crisp, it's light, the citrus is amazing, and the vinaigrette dressing that goes on top, you can keep in the refrigerator for a month. It's delicious. Then we're going to do spaghetti and clam sauce. This is a childhood favorite of mine, and you know, I always felt like it was so fancy. But you know what? All of these ingredients are very easy to keep on hand, and you could wow a guest or two at your home with this recipe as well. And then we'll do chocolate delight. This is one of the all-time favorite dessert recipes of the 70s. It was the biggest hit, and it kind of went away for a while. Well, we've brought it back with our new cookbook, and I think you're gonna love it. And then finally, what about a cheesy artichoke toast? Perfect with a bowl of vegetable soup or a salad. So we've got a lot to do today. Let's get started on that Mandarin tossed salad. All right, so this is the Mandarin tossed salad. This is a recipe that was given to me in the 70s in Cartersville, Georgia, and we used to do supper club, and everybody was trying to outdo the other person if it was your turn to host. So Kathy absolutely nailed it with this salad because I am still using it, and that was a long time ago. All right, so you start with iceberg lettuce, and most everybody in the house loves iceberg lettuce. So you just want to tear it, whether it's with your hands or with a knife. So I've got about a half a head to a head, depending on how big the head of lettuce is. Now this is where your pantry comes in handy because these are Mandarin oranges. So you can always have a can of those in your pantry. If you have grandchildren, I'm sure you already have a lot of those in your pantry. Then this is chopped up celery. And again, I think I mentioned at the beginning that this is nice and crispy. It's just a really good crunchy salad. And then spring onions or scallions. And this, just colorful wise, is so pretty. And you know, there's no rhyme or reason to how much of anything you put in it. You could add craisins, you can add whatever you want. But this is just the original recipe. So at this point, you would not dress it until it's time to serve it. But let me talk to you about this dressing. All right, so I'm gonna use just a small jar to do it. You can use a cruet. You can also double or triple this recipe because it lasts for a long time. So I'm gonna start with my vegetable oil and my red wine vinegar. And you know, I have substituted balsamic before and it worked really well also. Okay, then sugar and salt and pepper. So I love the color of this dressing as well. And like I said, it's just, this is so light. You know, you almost think about it only in the spring, but this is good all the time, and it's just gonna go over the top of the salad. And you know, the focus today is keeping things in your pantry and in your refrigerator that will last a while so you can make something at the last minute. Celery lasts for a while if you keep it in your crisper. The spring onions do as well. The Mandarin oranges are in your pantry, and I think you've got everything in your cabinet to make this dressing. So if you wanna make this a whole meal, don't forget the Fresh Market always has rotisserie chicken, grilled chicken slices. You can use ham, whatever you want to make this a meal in itself. All right, so we're gonna keep going with this idea of doing something quick and easy. And when we come back from the break, we're gonna get started on the spaghetti with clam sauce. It sounds so fancy. Welcome back, everybody. And if you're just joining me, it might be because you in the hustle and bustle of the holiday season. And that's what we're talking about today. What are some quick and easy meals that you can use, things that are in your pantry and your refrigerator that you can keep on hand to pull this together at the last minute. So we just made the Mandarin tossed salad. It's just a delicious, fresh, light vinaigrette dressing salad that you can add a protein to and have it as a complete meal. Not only that, you can have the dressing left over, or you can give it as a gift. All right, so this is the spaghetti and clam sauce. This takes me back to being like 12, 13, 14 years old. My older sister Bitsy, who I've talked about many times, so many of her recipes were so important to me growing up because I would visit her as a newlywed when I was that age, and she was just the perfect little housewife. So what I've done here is, this is olive oil that I'm gonna put in my pan, and I'm gonna start getting that a little bit warm. But Bitsy's, she would, like I said, noodles, I called it noodles, but it's spaghetti and clam sauce. You know, it sounds so fancy, but it's so easy. And like I said, if you keep some of this stuff in your pantry, you can make this at any time. So I'm getting the olive oil a little bit hot, and you know, Fresh Market's olive oils are really good quality. This is going to cook well. It takes the high heat. It maintains the flavor of the other ingredients that you add into it. Now this is fresh parsley, and I do recommend that you get the fresh and chop it up. And then this is the garlic. And I think sometimes people forget that garlic is not like an onion. It's going to cook a lot faster. And if you keep your heat on like a medium, this should work really well in terms of incorporating that flavor into this. You know, this is an Italian meal. You could do the Mandarin tossed salad with this, would be perfect. All right, so now I've got some ripe olives, and that's just in a can in your pantry, like I'm saying. And then maybe you have never purchased this. So I've taken it out of the can, but these are baby minced clams. And all the juice that's in the can, you want to keep it. So you could just really pour this straight from the can into your pan. So what you're going to do at this point is just simmer it. And as it simmers and cooks, it's going to get a little bit thicker. So in terms of why I wanted to do this today, I love the idea of having things on hand that you can do quickly. So this is just going to simmer down. I'm going to have my noodles or my spaghetti. I still say noodles because that's what I said as a child. And then I'm going to grate some fresh Parmesan to go on top. And during Vera's Corner today, we're going to talk about getting the house ready for any house guests that you might be having during the holidays. And then we'll put together that chocolate delight. So I'll see you back in just a minute. Vera's Corner is brought to you by TaxSlayer. You know, cooking isn't the only part of entertaining that's important. It's also important to have your house clean, the tiles in the kitchen and the bathroom looking amazing if they're staying overnight. So I've got some low-cost ingredients to make a home remedy to clean that grout, and I'm going to suggest that you do it monthly. You'll want to grab some gloves, a towel, and a bottle that you can squirt onto the grout. I like to label mine, so I use it only for cleaning purposes, and of course keep it in a cabinet. Mix 1/4 cup hydrogen peroxide, 1/2 cup baking soda, and 1 teaspoon dish soap in a liquid measuring cup. Pour into the grout squirt bottle. Apply the liquid mixture to the grout and allow to soak for 10 minutes. Using a scrubbing brush or a stiff wired brush, scrub the grout generously to get in all of the cracks. Wipe up the liquid mixture with a towel, being sure to wipe away from the grout so you don't push any dirt back in. Turn on your shower to rinse out the remaining mixture and check afterwards for any residue and rinse again if needed. Enjoy your sparkling clean tile floors. Start free today at taxslayer.com. Welcome back, everybody. And we've gone from delicious recipes to learning how to clean the grout in your shower. But you know what? Isn't that an easy recipe? And just like the recipes we're making on the show today, you have all of those things in your house and it works so well. So my tip is to just keep it up. Maybe do it once a month. All right, so this is the Chocolate Delight. This recipe was given to me in the late 70s by Sue Carter in Madison, Georgia, and nobody had ever had it before. It is such a good recipe. She won the prize at the potluck dinner for the best recipe of the night. And so I have used this recipe many times, but it kind of went away. It kind of lost its luster. But we put it in the new cookbook and now it's like reinvented itself. So I'm so excited. So I had a little bit I had to do in advance. The crust is melted butter, flour, and Pearson Farm Elliott halves that I chopped up to make this crust. And it makes a really nice dough, just quick and easy to mix up. You don't even need a mixer. And then I pressed it in the pan with a spoon to get it evenly distributed in the pan. And then you just bake that in the oven and let it cool down. So that's ready to go. All right, so now the filling, and there's so many different layers to this. It's just delicious. So this is cream cheese, and like we were talking about today, you want to keep some things in your refrigerator that you can make a recipe. I would assume that you have every bit of this always. All right, so the cream cheese I got to room temperature or even a little softer, and cream cheese will last for a couple of months in the refrigerator if you buy it. So if you open it and don't use the whole bar, then you might want to use it again in the next couple of weeks or so. In a recipe. But I'm adding in my confectioner's sugar, and what I'm doing here is just getting this really mixed together really well. Confectioner's sugar, you know, I hardly use that anymore, but it really doesn't go out of date. You know, you might want to check the box, but back in the day when my children were younger, I always had it for French toast, and that was basically my main use of it. All right, so that looks pretty smooth. So I'm gonna turn my mixer down just a little bit. Now this is Cool Whip, and Cool Whip can live in the freezer until you're ready to use it. And you can pull some of it out, half of it out, and put the rest back in the freezer so you can use it again. I'm making a little bit of a mess here, but you know, this is just gonna blend into that, and then we're gonna spread this over the cool crust. So while I'm adding this in, I've had so many people comment on Instagram or send questions to info@VeryVera.com about my aprons. And my aprons are Studio Petro, and I absolutely love them. I feel like I am very elegant in the kitchen when they're so comfortable. They have pockets, they're just easy to put on, and I've got a lot of different colors. So be sure to check them out if you're looking for a holiday gift for somebody that likes to cook. Get their name put on it. All right, so now I'm going to take this off, and this is gonna spread on top of that cool crust. All right, so just go down to the bottom and make sure it all blended really well. And now I'm just gonna dollop this on top. And again, you wanna make sure that that crust is cooled, because otherwise it's gonna rip when you try to spread this around. So the thing about this is the layers are so pretty, so it really presents really well. If you're gonna do it as individually plated, or if you're doing a buffet, you can either go ahead and score it, or you could go ahead and just let people lift it out with a spoon. I prefer to score it. Okay, I'm gonna switch now to my spoon so that I can just blend this around. And just take your time, because even though this is cool, it's a very delicate crust and you don't want it to pull away. Turn this. And we won't be thinking about calories when we eat this because we're going to be running around so much in the month of December that you will just burn those calories right off. All right, so now I'm going to get ready to do the chocolate filling. All right, so I've switched out my beater to a wire whisk, but I don't even have to wash the bowl. I've put 1 package of chocolate instant jello pudding in, and now I'm going to add another pack. And then I like to keep my milk in the refrigerator until the last minute so it's good and cold. And we're just going to slowly add this so that hopefully it's very smooth when it mixes together. And this beats for 2 minutes, and you're going to think it's not done, but it sets up in 5. So 2 minutes on the mixing, and then we'll add it to the next layer. All right, so that's nice and creamy. And we're just going to add this to the top. And again, that spoon comes in really handy when you do this too. You know, and this is something that maybe you could get your young person in the kitchen with you to do. All right, so we're going to get this finished. And when we come back from the break, you know, it's Christmas time, so we've still got to make it look pretty to show you at the end. So come back with us in just a few minutes. I may be licking this bowl. Welcome back, everybody. And you know, the purpose of today's show was to give you some ideas of things to have in the refrigerator and the pantry so you can make a quick meal if someone comes over for dinner at the last minute, or if you've been out shopping or worked late during the holidays. So hopefully you'll go to our website at VeryVera.com and try these recipes and keep some of these things on hand in your shelf. All right, so let's walk back through what we did today. We started with the Mandarin tossed salad. And you know, one of the features of this salad are the caramelized almonds that go in it. And those are very easy to do. It takes a little bit of time, so you have to be patient, but you put sugar in a heavy saucepan, and after about 6 minutes of being on a medium-high heat, you're gonna see it begin to start to melt. And in the next couple of minutes, it's going to get a golden color, and as soon as all the sugar is dissolved, you're going to add the almonds in and quickly remove that to a sheet pan. And then that just works like, I mean, it's like peanut brittle, but it's almonds. And that's what you're going to garnish the salad with. And one of the other tips today about this salad is this makes a really nice gift to give to a friend. You can have the almonds already done, you can have the salad dressing already made, and I just love the color of it and the way it looks, and it has a really long shelf life. All right, so you've got an easy salad that can have a protein added to it, so it could be a meal. So then let's move on to the spaghetti and clam sauce. So again, this is just an old recipe, and I always said noodles and clam sauce, but it sounds so fancy when you say spaghetti and clam sauce. And these are also ingredients that are going to be in your pantry. The clams are in a can, the olives are in a can. The fresh parsley, I do recommend that you get fresh parsley to make this recipe. But in making it, just remember that you want to let it simmer really well so that the garlic and all of the juice from the clams begins to thicken as it reduces down. And I just put that on top of the vermicelli is what I used today for it, and spooned that on, and then I grated some of my fresh Parmesan with my Mouli grater. So that's, you know, that really reminds me of my grandmother, but I keep that on hand as well. So the noodles and clam sauce, the clam sauce for that could go in this basket that you could take to a neighbor. The next recipe we did was the chocolate delight, and I made a whole recipe on the show today, but earlier I took that same recipe and divided it between 2 pans because I'm going to actually give that as a gift as well. So you could use some pretty tissue paper, some saran to put on top, wrap it up with a bow, and it's a wonderful dessert that can freeze or they could eat it right away. But I do recommend when you slice it that you clean your knife between each slice so that your layers stay pretty when you cut it. All right, then finally we did a cheesy artichoke toast, and let me walk you through the steps to do that. All right, so you're going to use 4 slices of sourdough bread, and you're going to put your oven on broil, and you're going to lay the bread directly on the rack because you want this to toast on both sides very well, because the mixture that you're going to put on top will soak into the bread and change the recipe. So I do recommend that you do that step. Then the filling is so good. You've got artichokes, and here again, those can be out of a can. The garlic, and you could use minced garlic instead of fresh garlic if you didn't have that on hand. Parmesan cheese that I've grated fresh, Gruyere cheese that I did the same way, sour cream, and that has a long shelf life, lemon zest, salt, and pepper. And then you divide that into 4 equal amounts and spread that evenly on the bread, and then put it back in the oven at 425 for about 8 minutes, and it just cooks beautifully. So this goes well with the salad. This can go well with a bowl of soup. So I certainly hope that you'll try these recipes, and remember, if you're in a big hurry, pull into the fresh market and pick up one of their little big meals. So again, no matter what you do, do it in good taste. Come back and join me again next week.